Tonight's headlines are brought to you by McDonald's and Mariana's Coffee.
Good evening, Commonwealth. Thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Chris Nelson. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. NMI's number one tourist attraction is attracting a lot of attention over the future of business in and around the island. Also tonight, we preview an independent and a Democrat who are running to represent us in the nation's capital. And this weekend, all the candidates for Congress will square off in a forum that will be broadcast live. In sports, the Hotel Association will hold its annual golf tournament, and there are some big prizes. Bring your putters. Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
Find a plan that goes with your flow. Get unlimited local talk, text, and data at the most affordable rate with Unlimited Flow Postpaid.
I love Mariana's Coffee. Come join me for a cup. I think you would be really happy.
Do you remember your favorite McDonald's collectibles? Well, this is them now. Order a collector's meal at McDonald's and choose between 10-piece McNuggets or a Big Mac to get one of 6 collectible cups while you still can.
Managaha Island is Saipan's number one tourist attraction. It's currently operated by master concessionaire Mariana's Global, Inc., or MGI. MGI pays upwards of $800,000 per year to the Department of Public Lands for the right to operate at Managaha. Their goal is to recoup that rent and more by offering services including water sports, food, beach rental items, and transportation to and from the island. And as Mariana's Global has found, perhaps the hard way, is that many of the tourists come to Managaha with other independent tour operators. Many, they come with food, life jackets, snorkeling gear, and have already pre-booked parasailing and other water activities. Many don't rent or buy any services on the island. DPL is now proposing changes that would give more exclusivity to MGI and make it easier for them to sell these services. The changes would make it harder, in some cases much harder, for local marine sports operators to sell and offer these same services, if Managaha is involved in the process. Local operators have said that the changes will put them out of business. This morning, DPL says the changes are proposed, but they are still listening. DPL Secretary Teresita Santos.
All matters pertaining to, the Managaha has been and continues to be handled by Mr. Sablon. At any rate, DPL would like to inform the general public that, it appreciates all comments, be it in oral or in writing, again pertaining to the proposed amendment.
I'm David Sablon, the Special Advisor for Public Land. I basically advise mostly on real estate and compliance matters. And as the Secretary mentioned, I am the one who took her responsibility and executed the Managaha Master Concession Agreement.
What the Department of Public Lands does, what the mandate is for the Department of Public Lands, and how they're supposed to serve the people, and how you are serving the people.
Okay, particularly, let me refer to Managaha. Okay, we have a mandate under the Constitution that we are to manage the use and disposition of public lands, including Managaha. And Uh, and in addition to that, I believe Article 14 of the Constitution also further states that the Manyagaha should be kept as an uninhabited no island. But at the same time, it's telling us that we have to promote cultural and economic growth, and at the same time recreational activities.
This is not the first time changes have been proposed. An attempt was made in 2012.
DPL tried to impose that rule that they are no longer allowed. It's only the master concessionaire that is allowed. So it was challenged in court. Apparently, DPL and Tacitur lost the case. The order was issued on 2013. DPL and Tacitur lost for only one reason. It's a procedural error.
Boat operators say they are afraid that they are going to lose their livelihoods due to these changes.
In there is a provision or that gives the opportunity for the marine sports operator to continue doing business as long as they go through a sub-concession agreement, which is mutually agreed by DPO and the concessionaire. So, I mean, it's not the end of the marine sports operators. There is opportunity.
As we all know, the master concessionaire agreement is with Marana Global. They do have exclusive control of the basically the operation of Manyagaha Island, and they are renting that ECA, as we call it, the exclusive concession area.
The issue is perhaps far from being decided.
DPL is going to be conducting public hearing on this Friday, August 16th at 5:30 p.m. in our DPL conference room, and also subsequent public hearing on Monday, August 19th at the same time, same venue.
Dan Shore reporting for KSPN2 News.
James Rayfand is running as an independent for delegate to U.S. Congress. Rayfand grew up in the Federated States of Micronesia and learned how to live off of the land and the sea.
I grew up on a small atoll, subsistence living, so no power, no water, but we basically harvested our food every day. Fish, taro, breadfruit. So that was my initial, that's my upbringing.
Yes, he said no power and no running water, and the atoll in Chuuk has not changed much since he left.
Use buckets to get our water out of the wells and stuff like that. But really, that's it. This is in the mid-'70s, right? So I'm a '70s kid. I should note that even today, our island still doesn't have power and running water. It's still a few steps back in the years.
Sadly, Chuuk has some of the highest suicide rates in the world. Amongst Chuukese boys ages 15 to 24, the numbers show that 1 in 40 commit suicide during that 10-year period. Research points to major societal changes as young men move from subsistence gardening to wage labor as one of the reasons for this high suicide rate.
I can tell you, growing up, I lost a few friends to suicide. Young too, man. When I was in elementary school, we had kids. We had a few friends of ours that hung themselves, and then we had other people that we knew peripherally that hung. So it was, yeah, you're right. I'm surprised to hear you ask about it, but you're right. It was common. Culturally, I don't know. I think it has to do with people being taught to bottle up their emotions, right? Men in particular aren't supposed to show weakness, I guess. And for us, that was sort of the ultimate way to prove yourself how tough you were, right? Is yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody else believes that, but that's how I think we looked at it. Even to the point of mocking others who wouldn't have the courage to do that, right? And of course, there's the jilted lover issue, which I think is always the case. In almost, well, no, because they were younger kids, but in some of the cases of the older guys that did that, guys and girls that hung themselves, it usually had to do with feeling jilted by the person they were in love with.
Rayfand went to high school and college in Virginia and played the team sport of lacrosse. He says coaches are some of the people who really inspired him along the way.
My coaches certainly stand out. I had a couple coaches in high school that they pushed me to a certain level. Physically, they pushed me, but I think they pushed me mentally too, right? They really taught me gave me a sense of responsibility, right? So I think my coaches have a lot to do with it. And I still am in contact with a couple of them, by the way, which is really nice. And you, an athlete, I'm sure you had coaches that there really isn't anything quite like the mentoring of a coach, right? It's not they're they're not quite a teacher, they're not quite a parent. They're a little bit, at least in my case, they're a little gruffer, a little more direct, and I think that's what I needed, right?
Another hero for him, an uncle that took him as a young boy on daily fishing expeditions.
If I had had to name someone, my Uncle Ty would probably be the guy, right? Coincidentally, he was also kind of a super roughneck too, right? Drank too much, fought too much, all those things. But excellent fisherman, supported the family through his mastery of fishing.
How about your favorite book?
So it's called The Romance by Father Rively, who was a Jesuit that lived in. I think they moved him off of Lucanor right when towards the end the mission took him away, but he lived and grew old on Lucanor. So most of us from there grew up with him.
Rafen says the book was published in the 1950s.
Written by a priest that lived on Lucanor, like a Catholic priest, but it's sort of the retelling of his adventures in trying to bring the Catholic mission to the islands, to our islands, and his story about getting lost at sea on our traditional canoes and being lost several times over and realizing he needed to get a better boat to get to more islands.
What's been the best day of your life?
Oh gosh, I always go back to the kids, right? I think having the kids has always been the highlight of my life. I have four, so I think the birth of each one of those is, I don't know. I don't know if I could put. Actually, my kids have this running joke about who's the favorite, right? But so
Who is
I think, should I say it here?
Yeah.
No, I don't have a favorite. But certainly, I think the birth of the children is my highlight.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh my goodness, I don't think I have one. I really don't. I don't think I have one of those.
And candidate Jim, what is number one on your bucket list?
It has to do with catching the best fish, biggest fish, man. I got to win the Derby, man. I think that's where I'm at now. I don't know. Maybe that list changes, but right now, I would sure like to. I would sure like to win that Derby one of these days.
What's on your resume as a special talent?
People seem to like the way I write. Probably that's about it. I get a lot of compliments about things I write. Most of the time, good.
What are you watching? What are
Recently,
like to watch?
recently. So my friends, and they've been telling me this for over a year now, but they're telling me about the Yellowstone series, which I haven't seen, but they told me that the prequels to them, 1883 and 1923. That's what I got. And it's the first of any series that I've actually watched the whole season, right? But so that's where I love. Man, I love those. They're good.
Rafen is currently on a personal journey, not just in running for delegate, but also in improving his health.
So I hope it resonates, and I feel badly that I've been such a bad model for it for all these years, right? But yeah, man, somehow I let myself gain so much weight, right? And I know I still got a lot to lose, but I have dropped, to be exact, because I've been following it. In the last 8 weeks or 9 weeks, I've dropped 43 pounds, right? So it basically came down to I weighed myself one day and I was 302 pounds. Actually, I was 303 at some point, right? But that blew me away, right? And a friend of mine jokingly made the joke that even Charles Barkley never, Charles Barkley, right? Never breached 300 pounds, and
round mound of rebound.
Round mound, right? And I had to go look it up, man. I was like, no way, because we used to joke about him being so fat, right? So anyway, there was a come to, I don't know what you call it, but like a realization all of a sudden that, man, maybe my knee problem is connected to the weight problem. I really don't know what happens to some of us who let that happen to us, but it was almost like we were living through it, but either not acknowledging it or not just not realizing how bad it got. Right?
Rafen says the health journey is one day at a time. He's watching his diet, cut out beer, and is choosing foods carefully.
I think what people don't realize too is in that process, in the process of reshaping your physical your physical capabilities, you actually start clearing. Your mind gets clearer too, right?
What do you feel is the most important issue?
Ooh. Um, Funding is an issue, right? And I've talked about this a little bit. And maybe I look at this a little too simplistically, right? But you take away the pomp and circumstance of it being United States Congress, right? You take away the grandstanding political noise that goes with campaigning. What you're really left with is an office of, by, and for the people, right? And an office that requires people to run, um, and that's essentially what I think the issue is, making sure we have a functional office that can respond to the needs of the CNMI, and respond to it in a way that isn't selective, right? Respond to everything that comes in. We got to be representing the collective interest.
Raven says that some of the benefits provided by the United States can help short term but hurt long term.
On principle, let's talk about food stamps for one thing. On principle, I absolutely, I know there's a need for it, but somehow we do need to get people off of it, right? I don't exactly know what policy decision can make that happen. So in the meantime, I think Hilili was right in getting as much of that as you can. We cannot we can't let people go hungry, especially if we're not providing, if we don't have a vibrant enough workforce or available jobs for them, right? But yeah, on principle, people need to be less dependent on it, right? And it's an unfortunate phenomenon. And I've heard people complain. I lived on Luknor when I was young, and there used to be food drops, right? Or they would bring cans, and to this day, in retrospect, we look at it, and it just made things too easy, right? It has made islanders too dependent on a I guess a product from outside, right? You can talk to islanders today who either don't know how to fish or don't like to eat fish, right? Can't grow taro and don't like to eat taro, don't know about breadfruit, right? And these are the staples of my childhood. If I had to state something that I would want to make sure, that's it. Nothing about us without us, right? And it wasn't that long ago when the debate on immigration went down and whatever happened. And I like the fact that U.S. Customs is here, or the immigration is controlled by U.S. But I don't know that we necessarily had that much input in that and how it was going to roll out, right? So I hope that helps.
Donald Trump or Kamala
Mhm.
Harris? Where do you stand?
um, I have to admit that I'm woefully ignorant about national politics at the moment. All right, I'm trying to catch up. I've been a fisherman for a little while. If I had to pick, I would absolutely pick Kamala, and not from where I stand, simply on the fact that I don't like I don't like Donald Trump. I don't understand what policy decisions his might be different than Kamala. I don't have enough knowledge to. It would be disingenuous to say um, I like Kamala for her policy, right? Or I like Biden. I simply, it's on impression for this, almost the same reason that I'm running for this office, is I simply just don't think Donald Donald Trump is not representative of me, right? I wouldn't act like that in that position is what it comes down to. So it's more of a personal, um, and maybe I'll be educated by my fellow Republican, not my fellow, but my friends who are Republicans. Certainly the debate is hot, and I've got friends on both sides. I generally am not going to pick a side on party politics alone, right? That's just not going to do it. So as a average Joe in the community, I just don't like the way that President Trump acts.
Collectible cups are back, baby. And this time, they're covered in collectibles. Order a collector's meal at McDonald's and get a sausage McMuffin with egg and one of 6 cups while you still can.
Alpha Day golfers, you're invited to the 22nd annual Hanmi Charity Classic Golf Tournament on Saturday, August 24th at Coral Ocean Resort, Saipan. Cash, cars, and other incredible prizes. And with the popular Blackjack Double Peoria format, anyone can win. Awards dinner show and raffle at Crown Plaza Resort, Saipan. Register today at Coral Ocean Resort for the 22nd annual Hanmi Charity Classic Golf Tournament on August 24th. At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under CNMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
The king is back like prodigal. I gave him time, it's been too long. Politic, if I want it, I'ma get mine. Never fake the funk, can't perform for your empire. Snatch him out the throne, make them all fall in line. I let the clock tick, count down, cause I'm on the headline, the deadline. I'm ahead time, the rare kind. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, big time.
Premium office space is available now at the Hermosa Vista Business Park on Capitol Hill. Features include dedicated parking, fast internet, backup power, good water, and natural light throughout to go along with the very best views on Saipan. So don't settle for space when you can get peace and peace of mind. Call Hermosa Vista today at 670-483-4750 or email hvsaipan@gmail.com. Ed Probst is the Democratic candidate for delegate. He currently serves in the CNMI House of Representatives for Precinct 1.
I've lived in Saipan. This has been home since 1975, almost all my entire life. And I was raised here, not born here, actually born in American Samoa. But we moved here when I was about 4 years old and have lived here ever since. So I've been this has been home for a little over 5 decades, and it's always going to be home.
Probst's background in education on Saipan starts from early childhood and eventually led him off-island to Hawaii.
I started at Sister Remedios as a little kid, went to Mount Carmel from 1st to 9th grade, transferred to Marinas High School from 10th to 12th grade, attended NMC for a couple of years, took a break and worked for the airlines, Continental Micronesia, for 5 years, and then I said I had to go back to school. So I went to University of Hawaii at Manoa, where I graduated in 1999 with a degree in communications, a bachelor's degree in communications.
He then returned working as an educator and photographer prior to running for office.
Yes, I taught at Marinas High School for 2.5 years. After that, I went to Northern Marinas College. I worked at Northern Marinas College as a student activities leader and director. And then after that, I ran my own business for a while. I did photography and multimedia, video production. And then I went and I worked for Head Start as the program manager for about 5.5 years before deciding to make a run for office.
He says inspiration came from family and the values he learned growing up.
It'd have to be my parents, my father, Ivan, and Juanita Probst, who just passed away a couple of years ago, were instrumental in raising myself and my 2 older sisters. They lived very humbly, both educators, but my parents have always been just incredible role models. I mean, we didn't have much growing up. We struggled, but everything was about helping each other and about family. And when I talk about family, I'm not talking about the nucleus, just my parents and us. I'm talking about our neighbors. I'm talking about anybody that needed help and the things that they would volunteer for, and do. It always inspired me to do a little bit more and to help others. It was like my dad wasn't into politics, but he was very much into friendship and quality time. They, always taught me that when you are with people, you invest in that time you spend with them. And that's why I remember, like, my dad would, a couple of times I'd get on my cell phone, he'd just about want to throw that cell phone, but it reminded me, hey, I'm with my dad, and I need to focus on that quality time.
We asked the candidates some get-to-know-you questions.
One of them, my favorite governors of all time, was, of course, Governor Pedro Tenorio, Teno, as he's affectionately known. He was a people person, known to really bring people together, and I always looked at that, and everybody looks back on things and talks about our glory days, and I think he had a lot to do with that.
Favorite book?
If I were Trump, I'd say the Bible. Favorite book? Let me think of one. I've read a few. I was a Tom Clancy fan when I was much younger. I think Patriot Games could be one. Clear and Present Danger is another.
How about movie? What's favorite movie or series that you like to watch?
Oh boy, I love. I can tell you what I don't like is these, but I still watch it. I love my wife, romantic movies. That's her favorite. But I love anything that has action in it. Growing up, I've like any movie with Sylvester Stallone in, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, come on, the best movies for growing up that always got us going as kids was Rocky. And it wasn't just Rocky 1. It was Rocky 2, 3, 4, you watch all of them.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
There's when I feel mellow, I like to sing James Ingram's "Just Once," and if we feel like we're really gonna rock it up, anything with Bon Jovi.
What was the best day of your life? Probst says it's a tie between his wedding day and the birthdays of his children.
The birth of each of our 4 children. I mean, nothing is more miraculous or moving than having a baby. I mean, it changes you. It really does. When I hear about people saying that your child changes you, they do. Suddenly, it's not about myself, it's about my child. And I think those were some of the best memories of seeing them and of course, watching them grow up.
What is on your resume as a special talent?
Resume as a special talent, if I could think of many special talents, one of them is I can play the piano, can play Beethoven's Fere Elise. Haven't played it in a few years, but that could be one of them. My other special talent is I actually take pretty good photos. I used to do photography. When I got into office, I sold all my equipment. But the skill set in photography is you can be able to take great photos with anything that you are given.
What are some of the biggest issues facing the CNMI? Probst says number 1 is the economy.
And how do we get back to where we used to be or be even stronger? We all have different opinions on that. I recently went to Guam. We had a conference, the MILA conference, met with Guam leaders, and one of the biggest things that I took there and brought to everyone's attention, but of course with their backing, was our transportation challenges. And if we are to rebuild this economy, it is a must that we work on our transportation, not just by air, but also by sea. So we have to look at other carriers coming in, low-cost carriers that could fly between our islands, and not just Saipan and Guam, but also throughout Micronesia. We need to grow as a region, and there has to be, it's a must, affordable travel is at the top of the list for me.
Probst says if elected, one goal is to push for a U.S. attorney that resides here.
The fact that we have our own district court, we have our chief district court judge, we have a magistrate, we have everything in place, but we don't have a United States attorney in that beautiful building. We should have that. That's just a fact. But I thought that would be different than Kili, but it turns out during my research that he actually did support this, and since 2011, he actually introduced a bill just for this, and it didn't pass. I plan on bringing it up and pushing for this because I want to ensure that all this money that Congressman Keeley has, and his colleagues and everything, United States Congress and the president and all this federal aid that has come in, is I want to make sure that it's being scrutinized. I want to make sure that that if there is misspending, that there are penalties. I want to ensure that we can have forensic auditors when we need them. These are things that are critical because we have had billions of dollars that have been invested here. To what extent have they been? Where has the money gone? And a lot of it, that is the big question. We are just with our Boost investigation. That's only a tithing. That's only a small $17 million. That's a tiny fraction of the $500 million we got in ARPA. But from ARPA, there's a much larger pot. From all the disasters and recoveries and all the money that was put in that, where is all that money and what is it being spent on? That's the one thing I could say that I want to see greater scrutiny. And I'm not saying that Congressman Kennedy didn't want that. I'm just saying that I plan on pushing for that. And if somebody says that's a bad idea, well, look at how things are going right now. If we had saved some of that money or invested it wisely, we'd have we'd be in a different situation right now economically.
The legislator has been involved in many of the Boost oversight hearings, a controversial multi-million-dollar government program that awarded grants to what many say were political insiders. Not much has happened as a result of the hearings.
The legislature has no extra finances to hire out. We of course would have loved to have our own investigator. We would love to have some people that would assist in these Boost investigative hearings. But we are the investigators. Our staff are the ones that have to volunteer their time Saturdays and Sundays and they don't get compensated. They don't get paid for this. They do it voluntarily. So the problem is that, as you know, the budget that we just passed today for the House was a priority. And it's been for the past couple of months, is that we need to push this so that we won't face a government shutdown. And there were a lot of questions about it. But now that that's said and done, we do have some parts of the Boost that we need to finish up. And I wish that we had the ability to just do so much more. But we are limited in terms of the number of employees that we have and the amount of work that we can put into it.
Is this something that the public auditor or the AG's office should be doing and not the legislature?
Yes. Well, we do see that and we are thankful that the Attorney General is moving on this, that you do see some movement on this, and we're grateful for the special prosecutor,
moving on
Jim Keenan. Yeah, well, at least in some aspects of it. And certainly he is watching and he is listening, and moving forward, we hope that there's going to be something that they can do. My big question is, we've been talking about with, of course, why isn't OPA moving on this, the AG? My big question is, what happened to the feds? We have the FBI here. We have, assistant U.S. attorneys. And the things that we've seen uncovered are straight up downright shocking. Anywhere else, something would happen. Puerto Rico, you saw people got arrested and busted for all kinds of federal corruption, violations of fraud, RICO, Hatch Act, or whatever. We haven't seen that here. And that's a big question, is where are the feds in all of this? They've been silent. We haven't heard from anything from them. And the only thing that we really see from them is busts on crystal meth, which is great. If busting out on drugs and everything. But what happened to all this misspent money that we have seen? And we can't pretend it doesn't exist because we have the documents. We've highlighted the things. We've shown where this money has been misspent and misappropriated, and how some people got rich instantly. I mean, it's not just questionable, it's downright wrong.
This weekend, all 5 candidates will square off in a public forum. Chris Nelson for the Channel 2 News.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
Half-a-day golfers, you're invited to the 22nd Annual Hanmi Charity Classic Golf Tournament on Saturday, August 24th at Coral Ocean Resort, Saipan. Cash, cars, and other incredible prizes. And with the popular Blackjack Double Peoria format, anyone can win. Awards dinner show and raffle at Crown Plaza Resort, Saipan. Register today at Coral Ocean Resort for the 22nd Annual Hanmi Charity Classic Golf Tournament on August 24th.
I love Mariana's coffee. Come join me for a cup. I think you would be really happy.
Motivation isn't always easy to come by. Thankfully, there's one place that continues to ignite my willpower. This one place provides me with the knowledge and support I need to grow, so I can continue to become a better version of myself. This is where I discovered my passion, where I achieved successes that made me proud. It's home. It's where I improved my performance, seeing the opportunity in every challenge. And when doubt creeps inside and I think about giving up, I remember the heroes who've also called this place home. And just like them, I know that every last rep is always a beginning. No matter how hard it gets, nothing can stop me. I will always come back stronger because I'm part of a legacy.
Buenas sports fans.
Get ready to tee it up. The Hotel Association is hosting their annual golf tournament this month. It's the 22nd version of the annual Charity Classic, and it's going to be held at the course that Larry Nelson designed, Coral Ocean Golf. It happens on August the 24th. Showtime is 6 a.m. Shotgun start at 7, and you hope you don't have to start on hole number 8, toughest par 4 in Micronesia if it's windy. Tournament fee is $130 now, and a maximum of 144 players can join in the fun. Always great cash and prizes at this tournament. Entry forms can be submitted to Coral Ocean Golf or Crown Plaza at the front desk. Hey, golfers, come north and practice your game at the Marianas Driving Range. New Year's local specials. 10-piece coupon books available for just $60. That's a $10 savings. Want to get really good? Come work on your swing every day for just $99 per month. It's our practice pass, and you're going to love it. Grab your passes and go straight to the range. You can social distance and chip all at the same time, and the views are free. Reserve now at marianastrekking.com. You can pay online, open 7 days a week.
Here's the weather. Tonight will be mostly cloudy with a 40% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Low temperature around 79 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny, also with a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Highs around 87 with lows of 79 in the evening. Sun sets at 6:41 p.m. tonight and rises early at 6:03 tomorrow morning. All of this means there is a 60% chance of me rising bright and early at 6:03 in the morning and jogging onto my porch to see the sunrise. If no sun, I will certainly enjoy the pitter-patter sound of the falling of the rain. Have a good evening, Saipan, and I will see you in the water and on the land.